Welcome back to Hang and Vibe, episode 6. This Sunday, the guest preacher was Cliff Foster, who is a member of community and also a mutual friend of mine and Mike's. He is going to seminary in California. Oh yeah, I mentioned him in a previous episode. So he's interning at Harvest in Grand Rapids, and he preached for us last Sunday. His sermon was on Judges chapter 3, verses 12 through 30, which is where Ehud assassinates King Eglon. So the context is that Joshua, Israel's previous leader, is dead, so Israel has no leader, and they keep on sinning. So to discipline them, God raises up Moab, and Eglon, the king of Moab, recruits the Ammonites and the Amalekites to overtake Israel. And an interesting note that Cliff pointed out was that the Moabites and the Ammonites are two nations that came from Lot when his daughters or his daughter-in-laws, I can't remember which, when they slept with him, and they gave birth to these two nations. Israel was sinning by worshiping foreign gods, so God disciplined them by giving them exactly what they wanted. They wanted to worship foreign gods, so he made a foreign nation rule over them. So 18 years go by, and Israel eventually cries out to God, so God raises up Ehud to deliver them. And some interesting notes about the names of the people in this story. Ehud means son of my right hand, and it's ironic because Ehud is left-handed. And then Ehud brings Eglon a fattened calf as a tribute, and the name Eglon means calf, and Eglon was a very fat man, so Eglon is literally a fattened calf. So Ehud, after he gives Eglon the calf, he tells him, I have a message from God for you. So Eglon sends all his guards and personnel out of the room, and then Ehud just stabs him. Just runs his sword through his stomach, and Eglon dies. And the only way to get out after killing Eglon and to avoid being seen by everyone else in the palace, or whatever it would be, Ehud had to go down the toilet and escape. So he escapes, and the guards come back for Eglon, and the door's locked, so they assume that he's using the bathroom, so they wait for him in there, and they wait for so long that they actually get embarrassed, which is kind of funny. And that gives Ehud enough time to rally Israel's army, and then they go and defeat the Moabites. So that's an interesting story, and Cliff kind of pointed out at the beginning that, God uses humor and violence to make memorable stories. Kind of like Tom and Jerry, I guess, is what Cliff said. In the evening, we had another guest preacher named Joel Hahn, and he preached on Mark chapter 2, verses 1 through 12, where Jesus is preaching in a house in Capernaum, and 4 friends lower their paralytic friend down through the roof. And Jesus forgives his sins because he sees the faith of all 5 of them. And one of the points that Joel made was that in our sin, we are powerless like the paralytic, and we cannot come to Christ by ourselves. So the Spirit supernaturally regenerates us and brings us to Christ. Meanwhile, the Pharisees are questioning him within themselves, and just like Jesus perceived the faith in the hearts of the friends, he perceived the questioning in the hearts of the Pharisees. So he proves his authority by giving the paralytic the ability to walk. And what's cool is that he didn't need to prove anything. He did so for the sake of the paralytic's own assurance, just out of compassion for the paralytic, so that he would know for sure that this Jesus who forgave him has the authority to do so. And after the evening service, Mike and I recorded last week's episode, sitting in my backyard around a fire, and yeah, it was fun. And then the rest of the week I pretty much spent editing that episode, which ended up being a lot longer than I intended it to be, but I'm still figuring things out, so future episodes I'll try to make shorter. On Wednesday, July 3rd, Mike and I went downtown and saw the Kalamazoo Symphony Orchestra perform at Bronson Park, which was kind of a last-minute idea that Mike had, because originally I was wanting to see if we could go somewhere out of town and see fireworks, but both of us were kind of hesitant because it was last minute and we couldn't really get anyone to go with us. So it was like, do we really want to just drive 40 minutes outside of town just to watch some fireworks? And that's when Mike came up with the idea to just go downtown. And what was funny was, while we were downtown, one of the friends that I invited, named Ben, actually showed up and joined us. And Ben is going to be a guest on next week's episode, so you'll get to meet him. And two of the songs that I really enjoyed during that symphony orchestra performance were, one was called, I believe, Song of the Rivermen by William Grant Still. I couldn't find these on Spotify, so I might try to find them on YouTube or somewhere and see if I can share them. But yeah, Song of the Rivermen. And then the other song was called Strut by Branford Marsalis, who's a saxophonist, and he was actually commissioned by the Kalamazoo Symphony Orchestra to write a piece for them. And he wrote a piece called the Kalamazoo Suite, and part of that suite is the song Strut, which was really cool. It had like a cool beat to it, and people were dancing. One of Mike's friends from his old church was actually in the audience, like doing this cool like interpretive miming dance routine that was really just interesting to watch. And he also came up and talked to us afterwards, and he was asking me about my podcast and stuff. And yeah, it was cool I'm like, during the intermission, like 3 different friend groups of Mike's all just like came and started talking to us. And it was like, oh, hey everyone. And of course Ben was also there, so I guess 4, and me, unless I count as the me and Ben friend group. I don't know. Yeah, Mike knows a lot of people. So after that, Thursday was for the 4th of July, so I had the day off. Haley and I went over to our parents' house, sat in the backyard around a fire. My parents got this is probably not that interesting, but I like it. My parents got these hanging string lights that they hung up around the backyard, and they look just really cool. Like, I love string lights, like overhead, like you see at like restaurants sometimes in like outdoor seating areas. They have those lights that are just strung up overhead. They got those for their backyard, and it was really cool to just sit under them. And then we caught some fireworks. Pilgrim, my dog, is afraid of fireworks, it turns out. He was kind of hiding underneath our chairs and stuff, but Haley's dog, Brew, was super interested in them. Like, she was standing up on the deck, like, watching the fireworks and stuff. And yeah, it was really cool. And then on Saturday, yesterday, so one of the houses for Halloween Horror Nights is a goblin. It's like Goblin Feast, something like that. So there's goblins and orcs and fantasy creatures and stuff like that. So our themed movie night, we had a goblin feast, which was just a beef roast, and like carrots and potatoes. We had like a charcuterie board that had a toast with eyeballs on it. She used mozzarella balls and olives to make it look like eyeballs. And we were, I guess, supposed to be pretending that the beef roast was roast dwarf. So yeah, it was our goblin feast. We watched The Labyrinth, which is a awesome 80s movie with David Bowie and goblins, made by Jim Henson. Yeah, just if you haven't seen The Labyrinth, you need to check it out. It's such a good movie. And then we also watched a movie called Hobgoblin, which if you haven't seen it, don't. It's really terrible. It's apparently one of those movies that's like so remarkably terrible that it's become like a cult classic, and people just watch it for how terrible it is. So if you're into that, then go ahead and check it out, I guess. But if you value your time, maybe skip that one. But watch The Labyrinth. Anyways, let's get into some music. So I'm going to start with one that's a little different. This is George Clanton from Virginia. He started out making music under the name Mirror Kisses. He dabbled in vaporwave with the name Esprit or Esprit, I don't know how it's pronounced, and it has like a Chinese character after it. And then he started releasing music under his real name because he got sick of saying the name Mirror Kisses, which I can understand. But I like his song Whispers.wav under the name Esprit. It's from Virtua.zip, and it's got a cool like vaporwave, electronic sound to it. And the whole point of vaporwave is to sound nostalgic and to sound like, old computers and technology and stuff. And it achieves that, But under his name, George Clanton, some of the songs I like by him, on the album 100% Electronica, I like the song It Makes the Babies Want to Cry. It's a weird title, but it's a cool song. It's got some cool synth in it. And I like the chord progression. I like the sort of pre-chorus. I don't know if that's what it would be called. The song doesn't really have a chorus, but there's a part that's like the chord progression is really cool, and then it goes into kind of an instrumental part. So I like that section. I like the whole song, but that section is cool. And then in 2020, he released an album that was a collaboration with another artist named Nick Hexum. And I really like the songs on this album. Two in particular I like. One of them is called Driving in My Car. It's really chill, really like relaxing, and it has a nice little guitar sort of riff to it. And the background vocals are really pretty. It just sounds like a nice song to relax to and go for like a summer drive. And then the other song that I really like, that is probably my favorite song by George Clanton, is called Topanga State of Mind, which when I first saw this song, I thought it was about the character from Boy Meets World, but I think I found out that Topanga is just a city in California, so it's most likely what he's referring to in the song. But the sound of the song is really amazing. It's got a funky beat. The guitar riff is the best part. Just really cool guitar melody to it, and a beautiful vocal melody too. Just the way he delivers his vocals and the melody is just really sounds super awesome. So I really like that song. The next artist is called Das Kope. I think that's how it's pronounced. You'd think it was like a German artist or something, but he's actually from Brazil. I think his name is also George. I don't know if that's his real name. I actually only found one source that said that. He seems pretty secretive about his identity. But he's from Brazil. He actually lives in LA. But his sound is also kind of synthwavy and summery. One of his songs that I really like is called Ready for the Summer. That was his debut song, I guess, and from his debut album. It's got some interesting vocal changes. Like his vocals sound kind of higher register and more falsetto in parts of the song, and then all of a sudden he switches to his chest voice and in the chorus, and it's interesting the way his range changes in the song. And then another song I like is called Welcome, and that's from the album Where I Live. And yeah, it's just got this cool thumping bass in it that comes in once in a while, and it's more distorted in some parts of the song, where parts of the song it's just kind of a regular bass line, and then at parts of the song it gets kind of distorted and sounds kind of cool. And then also from that album, I like the song Tiger. The chorus is my favorite part. I like the sound of the chorus. And then at the end of the song, it has this cool heavy breakdown section where the guitars get heavier and it just sounds kind of menacing, like a tiger, I guess. Yeah, and then some of his newer songs that he's released, I haven't listened to all that much, but he has a couple newer songs. In 2022, he released a song called Pacific Coast Highway. I like that one. I like the sort of descending, plucky synth line that's in that song. It does have a pretty cool sound. And then his other song called So Happy, it's a slower song and it sounds okay. I haven't listened to it a ton, but I'll play it in the podcast for you to hear. I feel so happy when the sun goes down. And then the next artist is Post Animal. They're a psychedelic rock band from Chicago. It's kind of famous for being the band that Joe Keery used to be in. Joe Keery is the actor who played Steve on Stranger Things. And he makes his own music these days, but he used to be in Post Animal. He left in 2019, but currently the band consists of Dalton Allison, Jake Hirschland, Javi Reyes, I don't know if that's how it's pronounced, Wesley Toledo, and Matt Williams. And they all contribute in different ways. They contribute vocals and instruments. According to Wikipedia, they just all kind of play everything, which is pretty cool. The song When I Get Home was my introduction to the band. It's from their album The Garden Series. And it's got a really cool synth line and bass, and the bass and the synth line go really well together. They kind of play the same sort of tune, and I like the part, like the beginning part, and the parts where the synth and the bass play together.
When I get home.
It's got some pretty nice drums during the verse. It's got sort of like psychedelic drums that play. Then it goes into kind of like a breakdown section where it gets a little bit heavier and more like guitar, like a guitar solo. But after that part, I really like the slow, like quiet part that starts after the breakdown. It's got like this piano that plays and a cool like phaser effect on the guitar, and then the background vocals are really pretty in that too. So that's a really good song.
When I get
the song Castle from their album When I Think of You in a Castle 2018, this one's got a really cool psychedelic, like ethereal, atmospheric sound. And the melody that plays after the intro has this cool, like almost circusy sound to me. Just makes it sound even that much more eclectic. And it switches back and forth between like the two different sections. And the outro is just super like chill, just sort of like fades out, and it's got these beautiful guitars, echoey kind of guitar. It almost sound a little bit like whales singing. Another song by Post Animal that I like is called Don't Go That Way from their album Love Gibberish. This is after Joe Keery left. But this song has a cool, like, kind of epic vibe to it, like an epic 80s song sound. Really good use of guitars and synth.
There's a place inside the darkest part of my mind.
Kind of halfway through, it kind of shifts to like a really slow, sort of peaceful outro with like like acoustic guitar playing and stuff. That's kind of cool. And then their most recent song is a single called Aging Forest. This one is like a totally different... Well, it sounds more like their first album, which was heavier. But this song is super like heavy, distorted, has like a punk rock sound. And it has like some parts that are slow, like hammering guitar. The melody is super cool and just has some really, really nice vocal harmony in certain parts that I really enjoy. That's probably my favorite song by them. these days. And then the next band I am really excited about, I'm not a fan of their name. The band is called the Psychedelic Porn Crumpets. It's a really weird name, but they have a really good sound. They're from Perth, Australia, which is the same city that Tame Impala and Pond are from. So I saw a quote from an Australian article that said, contemporary psychedelic rock outfits seem to be our #1 export in the music scene, which is cool. The article listed a bunch of other bands that we will eventually talk about this summer. So yeah, Australia is pumping out the psychedelic rock bands. So Psychedelic Porn Crumpets is Jack McEwen on vocals, Luke Parrish on guitar, Danny Caddy on drums, Wayan Billion-Donna on bass, and Chris Young, who also contributes guitar and keys. This band is awesome. They tend to get pretty creative with their chord progressions and their time signatures. I like the song And the Addled Abstraction of Being from their first album, High Visceral Part 1. Just has an awesome chord progression. It switches back and forth between different time signatures. Has like a fast upbeat section, and then it kind of transitions into a slow, like chill section. It then goes back and forth between the two, and just it's really cool. Really, it's kind of a longer song, but really just fun to listen to. And then from their next album, High Visceral Part 2, I like the song Move. This one's got a 5/4 time signature throughout most of the song, which is, I love, as I've said before, I love unique time signatures, and 5/4 is definitely one that you don't hear often. Towards the end of the song, it switches to a 4/4 time signature, and it ends with like this kind of orchestral, cinematic section that just sounds really, really amazing. And then from the B-Sides album, High Visceral B-Sides, I like the song Pie. Pie was actually the first song I heard by them and what got me into them. It's kind of in 4/4, but it is just different. Like, you kind of just have to listen to it, and I'm sure there's a technical term for it, but it's in 4/4, but not all the measures are there. I don't know how to explain it. Just listen to it, and the chorus just gets crazy. Like, the chorus is just time signature tomfoolery, and yeah, crazy chord progression. The lyrics are interesting too. They're very like existential. So yeah, Pie is a really good song. Some of their albums have a more punk rock sound, like the album And Now for the Whatchamacallit. I like the song Social Candy. Really heavy, like heavy guitar riffs, harsh vocals, just really much more of a punk sound that I do enjoy. So if you're looking for something a little bit heavier and a little more punk rock, check out that album, and especially the song Social Candy. The album Night Gnomes also has a more of a punk rock sound, and I like the song Sherbet Straws. I don't ever know how to pronounce that word, sherbet. This is a really interesting song. I believe it's actually in a 4/3 polyrhythm, which is where you have a 4/4 time signature and a 3/4 time signature, both kind of overlaid on top of each other. I think that's what they're doing. It sounds like it, and it's just really amazing. And again, with the wild chord progressions, and just I love this. I love the chords in this song and the rhythm, and it has this really cool guitar solo at one point. And then just one more song from this artist, from the same album, Night Gnomes. The last song on the album is called Slinky/Holy Water. It's kind of a 2-part song, which is kind of implied in the name with like the slash in the middle. The first part of the song is pretty cool, standard sounding. But then the second part, the holy water part, it's got a really creepy kind of sound to it. Like, it's got, you know, this acoustic guitar, which is different from what the band usually does, but you got this cool acoustic guitar playing, and the vocal melody is just kind of creepy sounding. And then it gets even creepier because they have this like effect that they add to the vocals that just make it sound super creepy and just ethereal, and the music in the background gets kind of ethereal as well. And yeah, just I feel like it's kind of a creepier song, but I really enjoy it. So check that out, and check out all the music by this artist. All right, and then the last artist is called Vacationer. This band is from Pennsylvania. It's Kenny Vasoli, Ryan Zamaro, Michael Mullen, and Greg Altman. They have a really good, like, I mean, true to their name, it's like a kind of vacation-y feel to their music. Their album Relief, from 2014. I like a lot of the songs on that album. It's probably my favorite album by them. The song Fresh is really good. It's just really happy and relaxing. Really does just like make you want to go on vacation when you listen to it. And I love the guitar lick. Yeah, just a really happy sound and lovely. And the song The Wildlife is also from that album. I like the chorus a lot, and the beat is just fun, and the melody. And yeah, again, just really sounds vacation-y.
No point in making plans. Wildlife is human nature. We've got to take our chance.
And then from the album Mindset, which was released in 2018, I like the song Euphoria. I like a lot of the songs on this album, but Euphoria is one of my favorites. It's got a really more psychedelic and groovy sound. They make heavy use of sampling in a lot of their songs. Like, you hear samples of, like, you know, violins, and almost sounds like they're sampling old records, kind of like in a DJ sort of style, but not like a record scratching DJ, but just a, you know, sampling from old records style. But yeah, this song makes good use of that, and just is really cool to listen to.
No time like free time. No time like now. No mind like free mind.
They released a new album in 2023 called Cherish. I didn't really get into most of the album. It's kind of a bit disappointing, but I do like the song Heirlooms, which is towards the end of the album. The beginning is pretty calm, beautiful background vocals and like these atmospheric violins. I do like that part, and then it transitions into just a really cool dance track. Like the violins get kind of more like compressed into like a beat, I guess, and then like the actual beat comes in, and yeah, it does. The rest of the cool does sound pretty. The rest of the song does sound pretty cool, and I would check out that song. The rest of the album is okay. I don't have any bonus recommendations this week because I was busy the whole week's just focused on editing last week's episode. But next week I'll have Mike and Ben as guests, and we'll talk about some bands. Not as many bands as last week's episode, but it should be still enjoyable, and look forward to recording with them. Until then, check out the Spotify playlist in the description, and yeah, thanks for listening, and see you next time.